Hey everyone, welcome back to Tuckaway Pines. Today I am headed out to the garden to see what I can harvest. I'm just grabbing all my harvest baskets, and I figured it would be a perfect day to bring you guys along with me, show you what we all pull out of the garden today, and also to kind of talk about what's been happening here in the homestead, bring you guys up to speed. Okay, so right here, right next to me, I have my peas. This is right when you first walk into the garden, and I've had them kind of trellising up this year, and it was kind of a slow year for the peas, at least for me. I got maybe about a handful of them, to be completely honest. Nothing to really do much but snack on as I plucked them off the vine. So yeah, I think I'm going to end up pulling this guy out and just kind of get him out of the way for now. But behind him I do have my cabbage patch. There's a few of them in here that are ready to get harvested, and there's a couple that have quite a bit of a bug damage, and they are quite small, but they are ready, and I think the chickens would definitely appreciate those as some treats. So I managed to find 3 good cabbages that were pretty ready and weren't super bug damaged. I cleaned them up pretty good as well, as you can tell. And I'm just going to kind of let the rest do their thing. If they go to the chickens, they go to the chickens. And I actually also harvested some extra cabbages that were just kind of not doing too much, but they were still there for the deer. So I think I'm going to throw those out to the stump as like an offering. Because actually, while I was harvesting, Mama and her baby came through and paid us a nice visit. That was a nice little treat, but back to it. So right now I'm kind of crouching in my where my cauliflower was planted, but they definitely did not do a darn thing this year, so I am going to end up just pulling them out right now. Not worth just letting them sit here for the rest of the year. And behind me I have a nice row of rutabagas. They are growing really well. They're starting to pop out of the ground a little bit, so I'm going to go in here and harvest the bigger maturing looking ones. There are still a few tiny ones in here that I'll just kind of let sit, and hopefully they just kind of get bigger since the other ones are kind of out of their way. So, and also kind of just to bring up the speed over here, I have some Brussels sprouts planted, a couple, like 3, 4 of them, and they're growing, but I see a couple Brussels sprouts starting to form. Nothing too crazy yet, so I really don't know how good the harvest will be this year. I know last year we had a really good harvest with them, but again, this year was kind of a funky year for everybody in my area, and yeah, some things did really good, some things just didn't do much at all. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments how your garden fared. I don't know if you've noticed anything different this year compared to previous years. I mean, I know every year is a little bit different, but I feel like this year was quite drastically different. So, but anywho, I am going to dive in, and I'll show you how many rutabagas I actually pull. I'm really, really happy with our rutabaga harvest. This is the second year in a row that I've tried growing them, and this year I think they turned out really good, despite how closely I had them planted together and I didn't thin them out or anything like that. But yeah, I feel like there's some decent size for a second year attempt, and almost, almost baseball size, not too big, not too small. So, either way, we'll eat them up and it'll be delicious. And I did leave quite a bit in there. They're still a little small, almost like a little baby potato size. So if I have to come back for the little ones, so be it. But as long as they don't go to waste, right? But right here, I have my broccoli, and they were unfortunately hit with the heat, so they're kind of fried out. I'm just kind of letting them sit there. I will pull them eventually kind of slowly and give them to the chickens as treats. They really do enjoy the broccoli. So I'm going to kind of keep those in there for standby until they're ready to get their little broccoli treat. And then on this side behind me is my pepper patch. This year was actually a very good year for peppers for me. I've tried growing peppers many years, and especially being up here in northern Wisconsin, our climate is a little too cold to get a good yield on peppers. Hopefully I get a greenhouse within the near future. That way I can kind of change the game there. But this year was a very good year. Nothing too big, but definitely had the quantity. And I'll kind of zoom in and show you just our what our baby bells are looking like. I do have a couple cayenne peppers. I'm going to leave those. Hopefully they can ripen. And I also have some banana peppers that need to get plucked as well. Managed to pick a little bit more peppers than I thought. Nice basket full of banana peppers. The baby bells, again, were baby. I'm going to keep them on there. Hopefully they'll get a little bit bigger, but I don't expect them to ripen into red or orange or anything, so, which is fine. I prefer the green peppers anyway, but did want to show you nothing I'm going to be harvesting, but we do have some baby eggplants coming in. Pretty neat. This is my second year attempting to grow some eggplant. Melanie loves them, and I figured I'd try and grow her a couple plants this year. And I'm very happy that they are starting to produce a little bit of something. Hopefully they get a little bit bigger and she can enjoy a few eggplants this year. Behind me is my tomato forest. Definitely not as crazy as last year, but starting to finally do something. You can definitely see we have some tomatoes coming in on majority of our plants. They're really starting to fill out. It's just a matter of them ripening now. So we are definitely patiently waiting for our tomatoes because we absolutely love our tomatoes here. I do so much with them, from fresh eating to sauces to ketchups to barbecue sauces, all sorts of stuff. So I'm very eager to start getting my tomatoes and start preserving them. This year I planted a couple different varieties of cantaloupe, and not really expecting anything to happen too crazy, but I'm very impressed with how this vine has started to really sprawl out, and it actually has produced a little melon here. Hopefully it takes and it lasts, but the more impressive melon is right onto this little plant. It's a small little melon. I believe this is one of the Minnesota midget cantaloupes, but it seems to be faring pretty good so far. Hopefully this year we actually get a melon out of it. Behind me is my little baby sunflower patch. We grew some from inside from seed, and I just planted them out here. I had the open space, and I figured they'd do better in here while they're protected, so I don't have to worry about the squirrels, the rabbits, and the chipmunks devouring my little baby sunflower plants. So we do have one little champion right up there, a really big champion because he is tall. almost, I think, taller than our volunteer sunflower plant that's growing in our cabbage patch, if you hadn't noticed that guy. But we definitely have a couple different varieties of sunflowers growing. I'm really hoping to see them bloom and blossom this year because I think it'll look absolutely beautiful to have the different color petals, different style sunflowers, and just to see all the beautiful birds that it attracts. And behind me, the crazy jungle that it looks like is a mixture of pumpkins and corn. I do have one little tiny row of corn growing. You can kind of see some of the silk of the ears. They're producing. I don't know if I'll get anything substantial, but we'll see what happens. A lot of them didn't make it once I planted them outside. They were doing great indoors, but once I brought them outside, a lot of them didn't take. So I don't know. But the pumpkins, on the other hand, are thriving. I have about three, I believe, I want to say three different varieties that are producing pumpkins right now. One variety is sugar pie pumpkin. It looks like I have about three of them coming in. They're looking very good. And I noticed one is actually starting, just starting to ripen orange. Over here, I believe I have two separate varieties. One is a Howden pumpkin. It's doing very nicely, growing to a very decent size currently. And then my big pumpkin, my jack-o'-lantern, is growing phenomenally. I've had to kind of adjust them a little bit because we have some volunteer corn here in the corner, and I didn't want it to get squished between the fence and the corn. So I've had to readjust it a little bit as it is gotten bigger. I hope to potentially be able to carve that big jack-o'-lantern this year. I think that would be so exciting to carve your own homegrown pumpkin. Or to even bake some goods out of my homegrown sugar pie pumpkin. But anyway, the last thing for the main crop garden that I'd like to show you, and the last thing that I am going to harvest in here today, is my cucumbers. I have a few. I've been harvesting them here and there. I'm just waiting to have a nice decent sized batch so I can go ahead and make my pickles. I love being able to make my pickles every year and having them stretch throughout the whole year. I haven't had to buy a jar of pickles for myself in 3 years, I believe, maybe more, honestly. Maybe it's 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. 3 to 4 years. So it feels really good to kind of take those items one by one off the grocery list because you're able to not only grow your own, but preserve it in many different ways that you and your family can enjoy. So anyways, yeah, I've trellised my cucumber plants up this year, up this little trellis, which they seem to be growing very well. I wish I had a few more cucumber plants that made it this year. Again, not everything was able to survive once I put it in the ground. So, but I am enjoying what I am getting and trying to preserve as much as I can. So, yeah, so this is the last thing I'm going to harvest here in the main crop garden. And then I am going to actually head over to the root garden. This is the root garden. The big wall of green behind me is a mixture of carrots, lettuce, some celery, and I even have some bunching onions as well, table onions. And I think I am going to go in here and harvest about half of my carrots and probably about half of my lettuce as well, and maybe a little bit of my onions. Probably about half my onions as well too. Alrighty, so I am officially done harvesting for the day. It got very dark. I pushed it to the last possible second as far as the sunlight goes. I actually didn't even get a chance to get to my bunching onions yet, but that's okay. Maybe tomorrow I'll be able to get to them. But I did manage to harvest a ton of carrots, nice sized carrots too, and a couple of bunches of celery as well. They look very thick, nice and healthy and green, and also a bunch of romaine lettuce as well. I still have to kind of clean it up a little bit, break off the leaves and stuff, but there is quite a bit there that I already harvested, and there is quite a bit still left in the garden yet too. So yeah, and let me show you our championship carrot. This thing was absolutely massive, and it was actually the very first carrot I was able to pull out. and thankfully not break it in the ground. So, but this thing is absolutely huge. So very impressed to see that come out of the ground, honestly. Super happy. And then also here's one of our celery bunches. Very beautiful, very vibrant green, beautiful stalks. So I look forward to using that in some dishes coming up here very, very soon. So, but yeah, that's how the garden's going. I mean, better than nothing, that's for sure. I'm happy to get what I can get and to be able to preserve it the best way that I can possible. So, and there's definitely more to come. This is just kind of the highlight of the year. Again, I'll say it again. It's been a really funky year as far as the garden goes, but everything else on the homestead's been doing pretty good. We've been staying very busy, definitely with the chickens, the new puppy, and we have some long-awaited projects to complete here on the homestead. We've been, cleaning up the property as far as storm damage goes. We actually just had the large tree in our backyard get taken down. It was starting to die out and really fall apart. And it was just too big, too intimidating for us to handle ourselves. There's a lot of obstacles. Plus, with our yard being right there, we didn't want to damage anything and cause more of a problem. So we had that taken down. We did a lot of the cleanup. We harvested a lot of that wood for burning for over the winter. So it feels really good to have a lot of that done. And we anticipate getting the roof completed before the end of this year. That way we're all set. It's about that time to get that completed. And yeah, just more or less gearing up for winter. We are expected to have kind of an early cold blast this year, so I'm trying to stay on top of things, and hopefully we don't get that sooner than we really want it. So, but that's pretty much it, you guys. Thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. Please don't forget to give me a like. Leave me a comment. Let me know where you guys are in your harvest season, what's really coming in good, what grew well this year, what might not have grown the best this year. Curious to see just based on everyone's different regions. Otherwise, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any other fun garden update videos that we do here on the homestead. Alrighty, thanks again, you guys. Bye.